Thank you and good morning. Thank you, Monica, and thanks for the opportunity to address this conference, opening the door to the future for Ohio's college students. This conference, focused on the convergence of libraries, learning, and technology, also offers the perfect opportunity to help us all think out of the box about education. Too often, frankly, I think we remain boxed in by traditional thinking, looking back. We in higher education are always at the risk of committing the sin of those in K-12 education who are accused of educating our kids for our past instead of for their future. In today's flat world, we must educate vastly more people. The simple economic fact is that in an open, globally competitive economy, too many Ohioans and Americans have only the skills that business is now able to find and use elsewhere at a much lower cost. It's no longer good enough for our education system to filter and sort, making sure that only the most talented learners make it through and graduate from college. So why do we continue to let 30% of our kids drop out of high school? And why do we continue to have over 40% of our college and university students not finish their studies? Generations of this level of student failure have left Ohio with an undereducated, under-competitive population. But in addition, in this ever faster changing world, Ohio's 5.6 million workers need to upgrade their skills, or yet more will face losing their jobs to lower paid workers elsewhere. How do we educate Ohioans so we're able to compete and win in this global economy? This is the challenge that I and the Regents, the Governor's Jobs Cabinet and Workforce Policy Board have been so engaged in over the years. It really is imperative that we figure out an answer to this question. It's no longer good enough to carry out the old paradigms of education, and that is why I'm so excited about this conference. You gathered here represent one of our best hopes to invent a whole new way to better educate vastly more Ohioans. We will need to use technology in dramatically different ways to meet that objective. The inside-the-box traditional notion of just-in-case education, where the education provides all the learning you need for a lifetime by the time you're 20-something, just in case you need it sometime in the future, has long since become untenable. Knowledge is simply increasing, and the competitive world is changing too fast for that strategy to have any hope of succeeding any longer. And we need to get out of the old industrial paradigm that treats all the learners the same, as if they were widgets on an assembly line. We need to deal with the reality that human beings learn differently at different times and in different ways. The issue, though, is not just educating more Ohioans. Additionally, we need to determine what we all need to become better educated in. We need to answer the question not just of how, but also of what. Coming from the business sector as I do, I can tell you employers are looking for team workers, effective communicators who show up regularly on time for work, who have learned how to learn, who are able to solve problems that they have never seen before. Ohio's workers must have not only the knowledge and skills, but also the attitudes and beliefs, the motivation and behavior to work productively and compete effectively in an ever rapidly changing world. Providing that whole person out of our education system is the challenge before all of us. We must invent the needs of providing the needed education when it's needed. To be effective, we will need to provide just-in-time education that is appropriate for the needs of the individual learner, a just-for-you education. I'm delighted that the conference organizers were able to attract John Seeley Brown to inspire our thinking about this challenge. Back in my former life in Accenture Anderson Consulting, when we wanted to stimulate our out-of-the-box thinking, we were privileged every now and then to get to go to the Xerox Corporation Palo Alto Research Center, Xerox PARC as it was known, which John led as its director. Their work certainly radicalized our thinking and enabled us to serve our clients to prepare them to compete for the future. I was delighted to hear some of John's more recent thoughts at a meeting a few years ago, at the meeting of our State Higher Education Executive Offices, SHEO. John spoke of our current and coming new generation of learners, how they learn and what they have to learn. I found his talk as engaging, but also exciting and tremendously thought-provoking. In fact, his insights made me realize how much of a Neanderthal I had become. However, I was fortunate. I learned quickly, and I quickly evolved. In short time after that meeting, I enrolled in an Ohio Learning Network-sponsored internet course using Illuminate, which involved the simultaneous use of whiteboard, PowerPoint presentation, chat room capabilities, instant messaging, email files, audio, video, file cabinets, and so on. I also went out and bought myself an iPod, right, and signed up for instant messaging on Yahoo. And by the way, did I mention my new webcam? I'm looking forward to learning something more today and relating it to our need to understand how millennials and our adult learners learn and the challenge with which we in education all faced with. Please help me welcome John Seely Brown to the podium.